Do it even a bit thicker if you like. Okay, so there we have our picanha rump. Now, I'm doing a method here which is called reverse searing. In other words, I'm going to really slow cook this for about 40 minutes before I sear the outsides of it. And the way I'm going to sear the outsides of it, let me just turn this again. I have a white hot skillet here on top of a cooker. You can use a gas cooker. I don't recommend you do it inside because it simply smokes too much. But that's the method. So the first thing I've done is I've taken the meat, I've spiced it, let it stand for a little bit of time, and then I'm going to stick it in the oven. Now, the important thing about putting it in the oven is it's not about what temperature the oven is, it's at what temperature the meat is when you take it out. So do yourself a favor, buy yourself a cheap little meat thermometer. I'm looking for an internal temperature of about 55. But then I know that 55 is somewhere between medium rare and rare. If you like your meat a little bit more, look for an internal temperature of about 60. But you can do this in your oven, put your oven on 135 degrees and cook it for about 40 minutes and you'll more or less be spot on. So that's where the meat is heading now. So let me try and, Nance, can you change cameras? I don't know if you guys can see my other camera, but there is the meat cooking in the Weber. There's the meat in the Weber. The internal temperature right now. Sitting internal temperature of about 55, so it's almost perfect right now. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm actually going to take it out and let it stand for a few minutes while I talk to you. You can swap back if you want. Are we back? Which one are we on? Doesn't matter. Okay, so here's our beautifully cooked piece of meat. I know the internal temperature is about 55. So when I slice it, it's going to be very rare, perfect for me, maybe not perfect for all of you. Next, how's it,
Mark? Yes. Sorry, can I suggest one of the videos that you've got there, one of the feeds, if you can just join without joining the audio, because there's terrible feedback that's coming through because both the sound is coming through both sessions you've got set up. You're on mute on both of them.
Okay, how about that?
Yeah, that's much better.
Sorry, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
How about Sasha? Enjoy your dancing. Okay, so where are we on this camera here? As I was saying, there's your piece of rump. Beautiful piece of fat on the outside. Going to stand for about 15 minutes. In the meantime, what I've done is I've made sure that my skillet is literally white hot. It's as hot as I can possibly make it. And then what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put some tallow on it. And tallow is a bit like chicken fat that you might remember from the old days, except I make my tallow with lamb. So I literally boil down lamb and then I squeeze it through a some mutton cloth or something very thin to make sure I get out all the impurities. Another way you can do it is while it's hot, just stand back and drop an egg into it. Drop a raw egg into your boiling fat. It'll suck up all of it. Then that egg, if you eat eggs, which I don't, is quite delicious. But yes, that is a lot of work, but it's absolutely worth it, I promise you. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit for a little bit. My basting sauce that I like is called Noganon's braai. That's absolutely beautiful. What else? Let me answer some questions while I'm waiting a few minutes. Anyone have any questions for me? Let me open my chat. Where's my chat? Can't find my chat. Any questions, anyone, in the meantime? There's chat. That looks like a lot of work. You're right, it is. Who is me? We haven't found. We found out who me is. Mandy, I can see you talking, but I can't hear you. So I'm assuming you're talking to your mom. Hello, Greta. Okay, so I'm actually not going to wait the 15 minutes. Might be a bit too long. So what I'm going to do right now is add my tallow to the skillet. And then I'm going to place the rump on it, but I'm going to put the fat side down first where it's the hottest. I hope you can all hear the sizzle. Picanha, that's it. Picanha or point rump or top black. And what I tend to do just before I'm finished, and I forgot to bring a brush, I'm going to baste the top of the fillet, sorry, the top of the rump. If you don't have a cast iron skillet, you can actually do it on the braai. It's no problem at all. Basting is called no gaan ons braai. Okay, once I've given the outside a fair coating, I'm actually going to take it off again. Mans, can we swap cameras again? Mandy? Okay, there we go. Make sure you got a really nice knife. So what you can see about the method is that it's absolutely evenly cooked all over. It's if you put on the braai first and leave it there without doing the searing, you tend to get different sections that are cooked at different parts. And I mean, even if you're a vegetarian, you have to look at this and think, wow. And I love the fat part. Can I offer anyone a taste? And then if you like Sasha, she likes to take my dude food spice and then even sprinkle it on afterwards. And there you have an absolutely perfectly cooked steak. What more can I tell you? Colleen, I'm sorry, but after lockdown, I promise you can have some.
I'll hold you to that.
You got it. You got it, Colleen. I'll come cook it for you at your house for you, in fact.
Deal.
And because I'm alone until Thursday, when Sasha joins me, I have about this much steak to get through. So what I do with it is I let it cool, and I have an industrial slicer. I slice it extremely thin. I get an Italian bread, put some mustard on the bottom of the bread, some caramelized onions, and some rocket lettuce, and any kind of sauce you want, and I make Italian steak sandwiches afterwards. This piece of meat, together, the two of them weighed 1.6 kilograms. Let me make sure for you, I'll tell you right now. 1.13. Can you see that? $1.13, about 160 a kilo for picanha. And honestly, this piece here I'll cook tomorrow. That's the one I didn't cook today, or I'll cook it in a day's time or whatever. But, well, feast your eyes, and if there are any questions, please just hit that space bar, ask away. I'm here. Mandy, don't speak with your mouth full. Now, I'm sorry you're all watching me eat, but any questions? I can't hear you, Mandy. Hold your space bar. Okay, I'll answer some questions. Hello, Mandy.
Hello, Mark. What other cuts of meat would you do? Does he cook lamb?
Oh, I do them all like this.
And lamb?
Certainly, let me tell you. So T-bone, definitely. A bit of an anatomy lesson. Sorry, let me just move this. A lot of people really don't understand what goes on the T-bone. The T-bone, there are two sections to it. The small section is the fillet, and the large section is actually the sirloin. Okay. Now, the sirloin's got the fat on the outside and lots more flavor because that's on the outside and does some work. And the fillet, which almost has no flavor of its own, is on the inside of the bone. Now, when you go to the butcher, it will depend. The T-bone is really about this big. And on the one end, the fillet is really thick. And as you walk down towards the other, the fillet becomes thin. So when I go to my butcher, I insist he cuts me the end with the expensive fillet. Now, another thing you can do is you can actually then cut the sirloin off that bone, and you can serve yourself fillet on the bone and then have sirloin the next day. There's so many things you can do with it. That's why I'm saying get your own butcher. Ladies out there, I'm sure you have your own hairdresser. You'd rather go bald than go to someone else's hairdresser. I have my own butcher. I'd rather go to my own butcher than walk into Pick n Pay and pick up free meat. And that's no disrespect to Pick n Pay or Woolworths, but my butcher just makes better meat. I have a barber. Thank you, Mandy. Yes, you have a barber. If you want to get some of my dude food spice, I'll arrange some for you through Mandy. I just need to package some for you and obviously find some way to get it to you, because despite what I feel, apparently I'm not an essential service. I really had hoped that I was an essential service. Also, what I can do for you a bit later on, I'll send Mandy a link to a YouTube video where you can watch all of this anyway. I have done this many times before. Let me just eat some more meat while it's still warm. Oh, it's delicious, eh? So, sirloin, fillet, rump. You can try the technique with lamb. It's not quite as good. Lamb, I just prefer to slow roast it. I do use my own spice again. And I use dude food spice. Just about anything. Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mark, what else would you, instead of putting it on bread with like with caramelized onion and stuff, what else would you do with it? Like, what would you serve it like with a salad, or can you do it as a cut of meat, like a
Hang
cut
on,
of like
let me
that?
answer that. Mark doesn't eat salad.
I'll pretend. Okay.
But I mean, could you serve that as a piece of steak, like instead of
Oh, yes.
like
Oh,
slivers?
yes. So you can cut a whole piece and give everyone their own piece. You leave in the middle with a big knife and fork and let them cut their own off it. That's usually the best. Then it's when it's for sharing. You could slice it really thin, put it on your salad as a starter, or inside mini pita breads, and so little mini pita starters. So very often what I do is I cook one of these the day before, and I slice that one up and use that for starters or whatever. And then I cook the actual T-bone steak as the meal for everyone to enjoy, maybe with some chicken kebabs or for the vegetarians. Yeah, that's what I consider vegetarians. People always ask me whether I have a vegetarian option, and the option is yes, not to invite any to your braai. Because they tend to moan a lot and tell you that the meat looks better on the animal, and I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, no problem.
Fish on the braai.
How many of us can see to my house? I would say about 8 to 10. If we can even have at my house, Rosemary, we do the first one here, and I'll cook for everyone at the end of lockdown.
That's a promise.
That's a promise, yeah, promise.
Can you hear?
And I'll get my butcher to supply the meat. But one of you fair people out there are bringing the salads, because I don't do that shit.
Okay.
That shit, huh?
I can do salad and the vegetarian in the group as well. Hey, mans.
Yeah. What about
Mandy only pretends to be a vegetarian.
would you do a piece of fish for me? Can you cook fish?
I can cook prawns for you. I'm not crazy about fish.
Prawns are fish. I'm not complaining.
They're not kosher, but we'll do prawns.
Nobody ever said I was a nice Jewish girl.
That's true.
It's bad.
Mother, last time you can come sit next to me.
Now, there's another thing. When you all come for the braai at my house, somebody needs to bring tequila. Because if you drink a lot of tequila, it makes me a hell of a lot more bearable, I can promise you. I'll warn you in advance.
Sexy and bearable.
You really don't want to try me on like sober. That's like, what did they say? You must be sober and enjoy lockdown. Well, it's one or the other. Like so some good news that came out today is that restaurants might be able to do takeaways. Well, not takeaways, deliveries from next week. We're still waiting to hear. We'll probably hear a bit more on Thursday. I'm not sure whether any of them have done their numbers and if it's even profitable for them. But they're so desperate right now, they'll try absolutely anything.
I had this exact same conversation. Am I on mute? Can you hear me? I had this exact same conversation with Nikki today from Moyo at Kirstenbosch.
Yeah.
She said to me that they're going back to work on Friday and they are going to be doing takeaways. I said, but are you a takeaway restaurant? I said, do people expect takeaways? She said, we got to do what we got to do to try and survive.
The problem is whether they'll be able to survive doing that, because it might impact on their negotiations with their landlord and also what money they can get from the government. So some restaurants like Spur, for example, have decided it's actually worth it. Yeah, Spur have decided they'll rather be closed until it's financially viable for them to open their stores. So
is it financially viable for Spur at any stage to open their stores?
Oh yeah, no. Spur, listen, don't knock Spur. They understand their target market. The perfect Spur table is 2 adults, 2 children, and 2 grandchildren.
Yeah.
So it's always her parents, and you're paying. That's just like how it goes for men. But that's the Spur table. I mean, when I go to Spur and like, the people are running around and screaming and shouting, and there's noise, and then the waiters are getting up and singing. I can see that, man. I can see that the waiters are getting up and screaming. Then from the corner of my eye, I see a couple sitting alone with no children. And I want to go up to them and say to them, what the are you doing here?
What were you doing there in the first place?
Remember, I had Sasha. I thought in those days.
Oh, yes, she was a little thing at one point.
Yes, at some point, she wasn't the ballerina she is today.
She was always the ballerina. She wasn't the prima donna.
That's true. There we are. Lucky she's gone.
She takes after her father.
How did Jacob used to do it? That's awesome.
There are other people watching, Michael, behave.
No, it's not for them, it's for you. So yes, in the meantime, enjoy your lockdown, cook, experiment.
It's a hardy dog.
Hardy dogs
Exactly.
always come out when there's any Zoom meeting that I've ever had. Somebody's got a hardy dog on one.
Yeah. Listen, you all know you can change your background of your Zoom. Do you know that also?
I disappear when I've changed mine.
No, it's because your Zoom's not good enough. Not your Zoom, your...
My camera.
Let's have some fun with mine. Settings.
Because there's a lovely one with grass and everything. And I always think, oh, that's perfect because we can zoom in the garden. And then you just see Mandy like fade into the background. And you see like blue where my glasses are. Like, I'll show you.
This is my favorite one. I like to be sitting in a meeting. And then all of a sudden I arrive in my own meeting. And it's just quite amazing to watch what people do. You can find yourself some fancy backgrounds. I've got this one also, which is actually me sitting there absolutely still. So if I'm in a group Zoom and I want to disappear, I quickly move away and I leave myself there. And nobody notices that I'm actually in the kitchen or the bathroom or actually lying on my bed watching TV. I just have to make sure I'm wearing that same shirt.
Maybe it's your twin.
Yeah, fun things you can do with Zoom. Have the meeting in a restaurant, have the meeting in Anfield, go to the beach. Let me go back to no background.
Can you show us the meat, please? Can we focus on the meat?
Sure.
Is there any left or have you eaten it all?
Oh, no. There's the...
So all in all, how long did that piece of meat cook for?
About 40 minutes to get to 55. 15 minutes of rest time and another 5 minutes on the... So I would allow about an hour and 10 minutes for a total cook. But in that time, that's when you serve your starters. That's when you check on your mains. That's when you talk shit to people. That's when you drink a lot of tequila.
So that piece of meat originally was cooking on coal?
Yes, but on very low heat.
Okay, so an old fire, one that's already like on its way out.
Yes, yeah. And what I'll do is I'll just try and, if you have another thermometer, you really want to try and keep the temperature inside your Weibo, inside your oven at about 135. It doesn't dry out the meat. It's absolutely perfect. So I shall just for fun slice another piece.
So Mark, you make your own biltong as well?
I hang my own biltong. Obviously you get it cut with silver side.
Yeah.
And my own divorce. So what I did was I bought an old computer server with fans in and everything, stripped it out, and that's now my biltong dryer.
Will you send us a picture on the group, then I can share it? Not here. If you just send it to me on WhatsApp, I'll share it with everybody afterwards.
Yes, I'll have to dig them up. I've got lots of pictures of my meat hanging.
Okay, we'd rather not see your meat hanging, okay? If you don't mind.
I'll send. Apparently my meat is very well hung, so I don't know. I've
Sharon,
heard.
do you want to speak up at this point? Because, you know, the rest of us are blushing here. And so is Mark, funny enough.
No, it's the light. It's the light.
You actually are blushing. That's hysterical.
Oh, no.
So, Mark, when we all come for supper, we're expecting a biltong starter.
No problem. Biltong starter. Small pitchers. Definitely a bacanya for main course with dude food potatoes.
What are dude food potatoes?
You have to wait.
No, tell us. Make us salivate.
No. They just slow cooked, crushed and then crisped up. They just
crushed.
Crushed potatoes are really.
Do the rest of them us call those mashed, don't we?
No, it's not mashed. No, don't mash potato. Don't mash potato, please. You can buy smash for that.
No.
So, how are we on time here, mans?
We've got 4.5 minutes.
4.5 minutes. So we'll do that. And then for dessert, I'm an ice cream and chocolate sauce man. So if you want any fancy desserts, please allocate amongst yourselves who's doing the pavlova and who's doing whatever shit you want. You're more than welcome to. If you want coffee, bring your own milk.
Do you do a decent chocolate sauce?
Oh, no, do the best chocolate sauce in the world. Bar
Well,
none.
then, and
And-
what
and I
ice cream?
promise you-
What ice cream is your ice cream of choice?
Not anything vanilla with its full cream, not that
Not
watery
dessert.
rubbish.
Yeah, not frozen dessert.
Not frozen dessert. You must get ice cream.
Okay.
But
No,
I'll
that's
quickly tell
fine.
you how to make it. You can make your chocolate sauce yourselves if you want. Get a 500 mils of cream, get a small condensed milk, and get about 6 slabs of Nestle dairy milk.
Nestle, specifically.
Nestle. Cadbury's a little bit strong for the chocolate sauce. Nestle is absolutely perfect. And then just put them on a pan and just really keep stirring them, keep stirring them. It'll make any chocolate sauce you've ever had before, any bar one rubbish that they've told you that they're making, it'll just put it to shame.
Well, I'm salivating here. There's like,
Yeah, Mark, I'm sending you some chocolate sauce when all this is done.
Good.
okay, so girls, we've got
a
something to
date.
look forward to. There's a, we'll set a date for when lockdown is done in 2021. And we'll,
2021. I was banking on 2025.
Good Christ.
won't you be too old to braai then, Mark? You'll be like about 60, won't you?
I'll be over 60 by then. That's the problem.
Oh my God, I remember when you turned 50. That's even more frightening.
I remember when I turned 30 and 20 and
Yeah.
even when I was at school. So,
I remember
Yeah.
when you were a schoolboy.
yes, I do. Mark and I were great friends then. We used to come to your video shop. Well, it wasn't a video shop, your movie shop.
The good old days.
Yeah, the good old days. Yeah, pick up 16 mil movies.
So as a
everyone-
parting bit of advice, sorry
Yes.
to cut you off, as a parting
Yeah,
bit of
no problem.
advice, what would be the most handy advice that you would give to anybody, or the little bit of insider knowledge in terms of braaiing? What would be your payoff line in this instance?
It starts off with the meat and the butcher.
Okay.
That's everything's around the meat and the butcher. Find yourself a butcher that you can trust, a person that you can speak to. Guy, you walk in and he knows it's you. He knows he can't give you rubbish. Let him cut each piece for you. Don't go and take rump off the shelf and off the package. Let him cut the point for you. Let him cut the T-bone by hand for you. Let him even cut your chops for you, your ribs for you. Get to know your butcher. The quality of the meat makes the best braais ever. If
Fantastic.
you get the quality of the meat right, you can't get the braai wrong.
Even if you don't know how to braai.
Everyone knows how to braai.
No,
I promise.
Martin
And
can't.
Don't overcook. Well, Martin. I thought you meant
Martin,
humans.
Martin can't even light the fire, okay? So
That's why it's you.
that's why I light fires and do the cooking.
So I would say, Sharon, no comment. Okay. I'm assuming about my well-hung meat, but that's okay. And she's also on lockdown.
She's blushing
so,
again.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever seen you blush before, Michael. Say.
probably have.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to say thank you. Thank you. You've really gone to a lot of trouble, and I really appreciate it. The ladies I think, have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's been fabulous. Thank you for the rain cover.
Yeah.
There's
No,
still grey clouds coming in from the south, so I don't know when you're getting it.
This was fabulous.
This was fabulous. We can taste the meat.
Mm.
Thank you so much.
You outflank.
Bye, everyone.
Outflanked, the flanked.
Yeah.
Ladies, thank you so much. See you all on Monday. And listen, we're going professional with Zoom, so we won't be stuck with a 40-minute and then everything cuts out. So next time, Mark will cook from start to finish for us.
With your
That's a
potato.
lot of shit you have to listen to.
With lots of tequila. Bye, all.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, that was fabulous. I thoroughly enjoyed it.